Good morning, students. We are discussing on railway and airport engineering. While in today's lecture, we will discuss about the railway stations. Okay. And thing is that what is a railway station? A station, it is a kind of a place on a railway line which allows to stop the trains for clearing the passenger as well as the good traffic. So why we need to provide the railway stations? What are the basic requirements of these railway stations? So for that, we provide a railway station because to exchange the passenger, exchange the goods. That also the railway station allows to control the train movements. It also enable the trains to overtake, also to enable the train on a single line track to cross from the opposite directions. Okay, also for changing the engines, that is the locomotives. Okay, for detaching or attaching the extra compartments or the wagons, we can say. Yes, so these are some of the basic requirements of railway stations. Yes, and what are the factors that should be considered while we select a particular site for constructing the railway stations? So there are, for that, some of the factors which affect is the adequate land, particular area is sufficient or not to provide the railway stations, because as per the requirement we need to provide more than one platform. Okay, also we need to provide a number of tracks as well as a few of the facilities that we need to provide on the railway station. So for that we need sufficient land. Okay, then the leveled area with good drainage. Yes, because at a particular railway station site there may be possibility of uh, extra drainage water comes out. Yes, so for that we need that particular type of leveled area which can allow good drainage system also. Okay, then the proximities to the town or the village, approach roads, that we can consider as the like kind of accessibility towards the railway stations. Okay, so that is a kind of approach roads. Then the alignments that we are providing on the railway stations, that also affect the site selection. Then the water supply, because where we gather the people for the transportation, also that at that particular site we also have to provide that water supply managements. Okay, then the station's amenity, the type of station and the yard that we are providing, and the role of authorities. So these are some of the factors which affect the site selections for the railway stations. Okay, the next, that is the facility required at our railway stations. So for that, the first is the public requirement. When we need to when we are gathering the public at particular place, so we have to fulfill that public requirement. So what are the public requirements at the stations, railway stations? So those are like platforms. We need to provide platforms, then booking office, suitable light systems. Okay, we have to supply the waters for drinking as well as for the drainage one. Okay, then the sanitary arrangements or the bathrooms, inquiry offices, public telephones, some of the refreshment stores. Then also we need to provide notices that we can consider as a name board of the stations. We also need to provide the cold drinks in the summers, and some of the like general stores sometimes we need to provide on the railway stations. So these are some of the public requirements. Then also we have to fulfill the traffic requirements, such as the adequate traffic staff or the police staff has to be provided at the railway stations. So also we have to provide the proper arrangements, such as the staff rooms, retiring rooms, quarters for the station master, engine drivers, or the persons which we have allotted or which we have recruited at the stations. Okay, then the signals and signal cabins for controlling the movement of traffic. Also, we need to provide the sufficient number of sidings to enable the trains to cross or overtake each other. Also, to fulfill the traffic requirement, we have to provide the suitable platforms for loading and unloading of goods and the passengers. Then we need to fulfill the engine requirements, and for the engine requirements, the proper arrangements of supply of fuel, water that required to the locomotives, that has to be arranged. Then arrangements for cleaning, examining, inspecting the locomotives. Okay. Then also in the engine requirements, we have to provide turntable to change the direction of the locomotives. That turntable is also important part at the yards. Okay, so we can change the direction of that locomotives. Okay, and the fourth one, that is the general requirements. As a general requirement, easy and comfort approach for the roads to the stations. Okay, so here we can consider the accessibility, availability of coolies on the platforms and stations, that is the considered in the general requirement. Installation of clocks for the correct time. Yes. Also, for for the foreigners or for the visitors, we need to provide the guide map of the city. Then waiting halls, benches for the sitting arrangements. Okay, so these are some of the general requirements also that needed at the railway stations. Okay, so just remember the facilities that we required at the railway stations. Okay, the another topic, that is the classification of railway stations. Well, those are basically classified into two categories, that is the operational classification of the railway station and as per the functional classification. Well, as per the operational classification, there is two subtype, block stations and non-block stations. While as per the functional classification, we have halts, flag stations, wayside stations, junction stations, and the terminal stations. So let's first discuss about the operational classification, and in that block stations and the non-block stations. Well, in the block stations, we have a few categories, A, B, and C class stations. Well, this block station is a station at which the driver has to obtain an authority to proceed in order to enter the next block station. Well, in a railway system, inclusive of block station, the entire railway line is divided into convenient block sections such as of 5 to 10 kilometers, and this block station is provided at the end of each block. The systems ensure that a suitable space interval is provided between the running trains so that there are no collision and the accidents. Okay, as we have talked that three type of block stations we have: A class, B class, and C class. So that's the first one, that is the A class station. Well, A class stations are normally provided on the double line sections. At such stations, a linear clear signal cannot be granted at the rear station, okay, unless the line on which a train is to be received is clear and the facing point is set and locked. No shunting can be done after the line clear has been granted. Well, the signals required at an A class stations, as like Warner signals, home signals, and the starter signal. Well, at a Warner signal, this is placed at a warning distance from the home signal, the main function of which is to indicate the whether the section beyond the existing section is clear or not. While the home signal, which is the first stop signal, while starter signal is placed at an adequate distance from the home signal and marks the point up to which the line should be clear so that the train can be given a permission to approach. The next, that is the B class station. This is the most common type of station and is provided on the single line as well as at the double line section. Well, the A class station, that is being provided at the only double line section, where this class B can be placed at a single line as well as the double line. Well, at B class station, the line has to be clear up to an adequate distance beyond the outer signal before the permission to approach can be given to that particular train. Well, this is the most common stations in use of Indian Railways because it offers greater flexibility of working. By providing a warner on the outer arm post, this station can also cater to fast the traffic while permitting shunting of the vehicles even when a clear signal has been given. The third classification as per the block station, that is the C class station. Well, the C class station is only a block hut where no booking of passenger is done. It is basically provided to split a long block section so that the interval between the successive trains is reduced. No train normally stops at such type of stations. The advantage of a C-class station is that it ensures the faster movement of the trains and increase the line capacity. The disadvantage, that is, however, is that no shunting is possible and trains cannot stop at these stations. Okay, the next, that is the non-block stations. Well, the non-block stations are also considered as the D class station. Okay, well, these are located between two block stations and it do not form the boundary of any block sections. At the D class stations, no signals can be provided and that this station serves an outlying siding which is called as the DK stations. Okay, at such stations, the sidings take off through a crossover which can be operated only with the help of a key, which in turn release with the help of ball token. Well, this type of station serves no siding and those are known as the flex stations. Okay, so these are some of the operational classification of the stations. Now let's see what are the functional classification of the stations. Well, the layout of stations varies in the size and the importance according to the type and the volume of the traffic that is being handled at the station yards. Okay, and according to that, the location where this station is being constructed. Yes. So the first one, that is the halt. A halt is the simplest stations where the train can stop on a railway line. Okay, there is no yard or the station building or the staff which is being provided. Okay, some selected trains are allotted a stoppage line of a minute or max to max 2 minutes at such stations to enable the passengers to enter and retrain. Okay, well, the booking of passenger is done by traveling ticket examiners or by booking the clerks. Okay, a notable example of such type of halt is the Garmukteshwar Bridge halt on the bank of the Ganga river. Okay, so this is the example of this halt stations. Where the another one, that is the flex stations. A flex station is a more important as a stopover for the trains than a halt and is provided with a stations building and the staff. On controlled sections, a flex station is equipped with either a Morse telegraph or a controlled phone. Okay, then a flex station is usually provided with a small waiting hall or booking office, platforms and benches, and some of the arrangements for the drinking water. Sometimes this type of station is also provided with the sidings for stabling wagons booked for that particular station. Yes, the another one, that is the wayside or the crossing stations. Well, this after this flex station comes to these crossing stations. While a flex station has arrangements for dealing with the traffic, but none for controlling the movement of the trains. That time, a crossing station has arrangements for controlling the movement of trains on the block stations or the block sections. Well, the idea of a crossing station was initially conceived for single line sections to facilitate the crossings of trains going in the opposite direction, so that there may be a more rapid movement of the trains. The another one, that is the junction stations. Well, a junction station is the meeting point of three or more lines that emerging from the different directions. Normally at the junctions, trains arrive on the branch line and return to the same stations from where they started, and then proceed to other stations from where they again return to their original stations. The most important feature of this layout is that such a station receives traffic from four different directions: the up main line, down main line, branch line 1 and the branch line 2. Okay, the next, that is the terminal stations. Well, many of us have gone through that terminal stations also. Okay, so what is this terminal stations? Well, a station at which a railway line or one of its branches terminates, that known as the terminal stations, terminal junctions. The reception line terminates in a dead end, and there is a provision for the engine of an incoming train to turn around and move from the front to the rear of the train at such type of stations. Well, in addition, a terminal station may need to be equipped with facilities for watering, cleaning, then coaling or the fueling, and stabling the engines. Now, the next, that is the station platforms. Well, a raised surface or raised level surface from where either the passengers board and alight from the trains, or loading and unloading of goods can be done, is known as the platform. The length of the platform depends on the longest train running on that particular section. Okay, well, we have two different types of platforms: passenger platform and the goods platform. The next, that is the loops. Well, when a branch line from a main line again terminates at the same main line, that is known as the loop. The arrangement of loop can be either of the split turnout, trailing turnout, or the straight and loop. Well, the split turnout, it is unsuitable for the fast through trains because they have to reduce their speed while approaching the facing points. Well, for the trailing turnout, it is less objectionable as compared to split turnout because there is a slight reduction in the speed of the fast train while leaving over the reverse curve. And talking about the straight and the loop, it is suitable for fast through trains as there is no reduction in the speed. Additionally, loops as shown by dotted lines and other facilities can be provided whenever required. Okay, so these are type of loops. Okay, Another one, that is the sidings. Well, when a branch line from the main line or a loop terminates at a dead end with a buffer stop or the sand hump is called as the sidings. Okay, the basic function of a siding is to provide the temporary storage of the wagons. For medium or the large stations, generally separate sidings for inward and outward wagons can be provided. Okay, there are four types of sidings: catch siding, trap sidings, then shunting neck, and private and assisted sidings. Okay, and the catch siding, these are provided in case of hill tracks where the gradient near the stations are steep. Well, the goods sidings are separated from running lines by the means of these trap sidings. On one end of the goods platform, trap siding is provided for inward wagons. Okay, and at the other end, the traps sidings is being provided for the outer wagons. Talking about the shunting neck, whenever the trap sidings are of sufficient length, shunting operation can also be performed on the trap sidings without causing any of the interference with the traffic on the running lines. Okay, such trap sidings are then termed as the shunting neck. While talking about this private and assisted sidings, these are provided to private parties for like commercial goods business. Okay, so this is about the sidings. Okay, I hope students you understand this topic properly. Yes. Thank you so much for your kind attention. I will see you in the next lecture with the another topic. Thank you.